As you may have heard on the news, Queensland is introducing compulsory unit pricing in supermarkets next year. Other states are now being urged to follow and make it national. But does it actually save you money? Some critics claim it will hurt competition and that will drive prices up. Gavin Older's been seeking answers to the unit pricing claims and counterclaims.
What it will do is it will make it easier for consumers to shop on value and get the best value for money.
It's bad news for consumers, it's bad news for Australian farmers, and it's bad news for independent retailers.
We'd all like to get more in our shopping trolleys for less. But is unit pricing really the answer? It seems consumers are in no doubt.
Choice has conducted a poll with 1,000 consumers, 89% of whom said that they would find unit pricing somewhat to very helpful in making their shopping choices.
It's the sort of support a politician would love to cash in on. And Queensland Premier Anna Bligh has done just that, announcing unit pricing will be compulsory for all supermarkets in the state from next year.
If consumers, if mums and dads out there doing the shopping can see the real cost of every item, they're better placed to buy the best value for their family.
It might be a relatively new concept in Australia, but we're almost 40 years behind some parts of the world. There are 27 countries in the European Union, all have compulsory unit pricing. In several US states it's mandatory too. All the others have a voluntary system where supermarkets can choose whether or not to offer unit pricing. So what is unit pricing?
It really does the maths for you. So if you're standing there in the supermarket looking at a 250-gram block of cheese at 400 or 600, thinking which one will I get, what's actually the cheapest, you can actually see that because it'll be clearly marked on the shelf.
So how could you argue with that? Scott Driscoll from the Retailers Association does it this way.
The people that will lose are going to be independent retailers who want to support Australian farmers and Australian producers, and ultimately the real losers will be Queensland consumers because they will end up paying higher prices.
The Queensland Premier says the decision to introduce mandatory unit pricing comes because Queenslanders need urgent relief at the checkout. But critics of the plan say the government has jumped the gun and should have waited for the ACCC to finish its grocery pricing inquiry.
This is populist rubbish that's being sold to consumers as a means of being seen to be doing something.
He says unit pricing sounds good, but consumers will lose out in the long run because it'll give Coles and Woolworths an excuse to import more cheap, inferior produce from overseas. But Elise Davidson from Choice says once the system is in place, it'll be easier for shoppers to spot a bargain.
Once it's rolled out and is up and running, we believe it's going to benefit everybody in terms of competition and transparency.
The one thing both the consumers and retailers associations can agree on is that no one state should go it alone.
Choice believes that any scheme that's rolled out needs to be rolled out nationally and it needs to be consistent.
This is a real mess. It needs to be addressed responsibly on a national basis, not state Labor governments trying to gain some votes.
Gavin Older on the excuses for not introducing unit pricing nationally.